This is NJ, your host on this channel, continuing our discussion on understanding the planetary placements in different signs. In this video, we will have our discussion definitely on a planet which right now at the time when I'm recording, it's the time of the full moon, and moon is very prominently transiting in the nakshatra of that planet. That is a planet which always create mystery, that has got a potential of give you very sudden rapid success as well. And definitely guys, in our classical text, if there is one planet which has been praised as the most courageous, which is like a hero, which is like a warrior, so you got me right. In this video we will have our discussion on the planet Rahu and planet Rahu's placement in different signs. So guys, you must have understood the logic with which I'm presenting this playlist, because we are not following the way it has been explained in the classical text, where emphasis has been given more on the predictive part. Definitely that bases the innate qualities of a planet. Like for example, if Venus, which represents luxury, which represents a relationship, so if Venus is going to be placed in the Taurus, in the Libra or in the Pisces, it will manifest good results. But what if you have your Venus placed in the Virgo? What if you have your Venus placed in the Cancer? So in this playlist, what we are trying to do is that whatsoever planetary alignments you have got, what sort of approach and attitude is expected out of you to plan your life as per the energies of that planet. So definitely guys, like the way when it comes down to the planet Rahu, like the way I always say this thing, specifically when it comes down to anything to do with the 8th house or anything to do with the Rahu and Ketu, it is very difficult to predict that only on the basis of your mathematical knowledge or the calculative part, because that is the only reason these are the whether the 8th house, 12th house, or whether the Rahu and Ketu, they are the karmic planets. The axis of Rahu and Ketu is considered as the karmic knot, but that does not mean that they are only hard bent to give you suffering, problems, turmoils. Like rather I would say that even in all those cases where people find success unexpectedly, in all those cases where people manifest some unusual talents, that can definitely be attached with the Rahu and Ketu. The only reason why we don't like Rahu and Ketu, because they act as a karmic knot, where irrespective of the fact that what your social nourishment says, what your family background says, what your own individual aspiration is, you might be putting all of your efforts and your energies in one direction, but life is putting you and forcing you, imposing you in some other direction. And like the way guys I mentioned this thing, if you are actually a intuitive, a psychic, so predicting things for all those people in whose case Rahu and Ketu are very strong, it becomes very easy. Like definitely you must have come across all those predictions where someone who is like very esoteric, mystical, and just looking at someone's face, this person holds this power to predict that okay, right now you are in states, but in 2035 when you will be of this age, you will suddenly, this thought will come to your mind and you will travel to your native place and you will visit a Shiva temple which will be in the corner of that road, and the minute you will come out of that Shiva temple, you will get hit by a car which will be white in color and you will die. Or let's say for example, in the positive cases, if Rahu and Ketu is very empowered, that okay, you will be working in some corporate job and suddenly you will find that esoteric or very enlightened being, and then you will renounce everything and you will be in the path of nirvana or the spiritual enlightenment. So again guys, this is what the power of Rahu and Ketu is, that they somehow, if their grip is very strong in your life, somehow overpowering all of your planets, then divine surrender is the only thing which you can do, because with your will, with your plans, you might not be able to overpower the energies of the nodes. So okay guys, now we will focus more on the placement of Rahu in the different zodiac signs. And like the way I already mentioned this thing, this playlist and this video is not about giving you the predictive part. Like if you will go by the classical text, over there it might have been mentioned that Rahu in the Cancer might give very bad results, Rahu in the Scorpio might give very bad results. But our objective is, if you have that, what you can do to make peace with it or get the best result out of it. So okay guys, starting our discussion first with the let's say for example, if your Rahu is placed in the Aries sign. So like the way guys, you know that Rahu is a planet of illusion. Rahu can be the most courageous, like the way in the Lal Kitab, Rahu and Rahu's range has been explained like a blue sky, like which has got no ends to it. So that is the kind of expansive power which Rahu holds. Now guys, when it comes down to Rahu's placement in the Aries, it definitely becomes very strengthened, very powerful. Rahu, beyond doubt, has got a power to influence us majorly on a mental plane. But somehow, because Rahu has got this insatiable appetite for the power, for being recognized. And somehow whenever it comes down to Aries, you cannot only restrict its signification only to the courage or impulse. Somehow it is the Kalpurush Kundli's first zodiac sign. So that also tells about beginning something. And the good part about Rahu is that Rahu always wants to be unique. It always wants to be in the front of any queue, in front of any kind of field, any profession. So one thing is for sure, like the way I already mentioned this thing at the beginning of this video, that Rahu is like courageous, the way it has been explained in the classical text. Ardhakayam Mahavirya Chandraditya Vimardinam Singika Garbhasumbhutam Tam Rahu Pranamamyam. So Rahu is the true hero, most courageous, filled with valor and prowess. So a lot will be dependent on Mars's placement in your natal chart. But one thing which can be said with this placement is that you cannot work in your life with a mindset of being a part of the crowd. And let's say for example, I do not know whether you are in a commendable side of this placement, or whether you think yourself as you are in the suffering side, that you always think that I come from a family of engineers, but somehow I'm doing something which is very different from my family ties. Or let's say for example, I look a little bit different from the culture community where I belong. I could be very short, I could be very tall, or whatsoever is a part of your aspiration, of your identity, of your physical feature. Embrace it as a gift, embrace it as a divine gift, because that is where the uniqueness which you possess. And definitely guys, a lot will be dependent on Mars's placement in your natal chart, because that will give this indication that how courageous, how powerful you will be, how strong of a drive and enthusiasm you will possess in order to do something exceptional, unusual, or something unique in the world. So yes guys, the only one thing which I have to say for people who have got Rahu placed in the Aries, that you are not a part of the crowd, dude. You are not a part of the crowd. You have got some uniqueness attached to it, and in this lifetime you have to be in the pursuit of recognizing it, acknowledging it, accepting it, and making the best use out of it. And definitely guys, with this kind of placement, generally you have got this talent and potential to be a part of some heroic deeds and heroic feats which can be said with confidence just because your Rahu placed in the Aries. Moving ahead guys, now let's say for example, if your Rahu is placed in the Taurus sign. So guys, as you know this thing that Taurus, which is a fixed sign, Taurus is a earth sign. Now this is one area where a lot many astrologers are of this opinion that Rahu in the Taurus can be considered as one of the very best placement. But over here our objective is not to get into the predictive part. Our objective is to discuss, are you utilizing the best of this placement in your life or not. So guys, definitely when we come down to anything to do with the Taurus, it has everything to do with the tradition, it has everything to do with the values, with your fundamental principles. So one thing which I want to make it very clear over here, that bro, dude, you have to be very flexible over here, because that is the only reason we say this thing, that a Rahu prominent person can become a very successful politician, and they cannot be blindly trusted. Again, it does not mean that they are gonna be filled with deceit or they're gonna cheat you, but they will be very, very wise enough to see through any of the deception, any of the plotting. And the protective instincts, or self safeguarding instincts are very strong in the Rahu. So that is the only reason, if you come across with this mindset, let's say for example your Rahu is placed in the Taurus, but you are like a very prominent Saturnian person, like your moon is placed in the Capricorn, you are a Capricorn Lagna as well, so then you might be driven more towards the tradition, being very deeply rooted in your vibes, in your virtues and ethics. But trust me, Rahu in the Taurus will put you in those situations where you have to be flexible. That is the one thing. Second thing is that, guys, because when we talk about Taurus and Rahu combination, it has got a lot to do with taking chances and doing something unusual in the domain of your finances. So that is the only reason these are among those people, or why our sages have like appreciated this placement of Rahu. Because see, Rahu represents the head part of the demon which was severed into two pieces, like Rahu and Ketu, Swarbhanu. So over here, and a lot of our desires are somehow attached with the second house or with the Taurus only, like our appetite for accumulation of money, our appetite for accumulation of experiences, for wealth, for money, for food. So because of which this is a kind of a placement which will definitely demand or ask you to keep on working in the domain of how you can be different, how you could be unique in your financial management, in your financial planning. Again, guys, with this kind of placement, this is not a placement which will promise magnanimous success when you have this attitude and approach of always being in your safeguard shell when it comes down to how you play and how you manage or how you invest your money, how you invest or how you manage your finances. So that is the one area where this placement could give you good results. Definitely, guys, a lot is dependent on how your Venus is placed, your dispositor of Rahu is placed, but individually this is a kind of placement where Rahu will function only good. How flexible you are with your virtues, with your values, how flexible you are when it comes down to taking risk in the matters of your finances. And also, guys, because as you know this thing that somehow Taurus energy also has to do with all those people who are very close to us, all those people who have got a very strong impact or impression in our life. And Rahu, you know that Rahu couldn't be loyal to any specific thing. So let's say for example, Rahu in the Taurus is not a placement where like generally you come across all those people who remain in those relationship only because of the sake of the society. Like, you know this thing that you end up with a wrong partner, you know this thing that your parents or your uncles are abusive, or you know this thing that you are in a joint family where people are unfair to you. So Rahu in the Taurus will not abide by that. Rahu in the Taurus will want you to take your own path, to sever the ties, because it is not serving you for your life purpose, for your own good. So yes, guys, this is how you can understand Rahu in the Taurus. It has nothing to do with good, it has nothing to do with bad. Neither I'm saying it's a good placement or a bad placement. All what I'm trying to do over here is that blend the qualities of Rahu with the Taurus for you to experience the best experience of Rahu in this life. Now, guys, moving ahead. Now let's say for example, if your Rahu is placed in the Gemini sign. So guys, when we talk about the Gemini, definitely there are many reasons for our ancient sages to appreciate this placement of Rahu. Because now you know that Rahu chiefly works on a mental plane. Gemini has got lot of curiosity and this quest for adventure, exploration, trying new things, learning new things. That is the only reason Rahu find itself very contented whenever it is placed in the Gemini. So guys, for you guys, the only one thing which I have to say over here is that even if you cannot become expert in one field, and even if you think that you are like a jack of all trades, you have or you are shuffling in multiple things, but this is a kind of experience which Rahu wants for you. So experience and adventure of the life should never come to a halt if your Rahu is placed in the Gemini. Let's say for example, if you have designed your life in such a way that you have fallen into a rut, that it's like you just taking care of your family, going to job, coming back home, having drinks over the weekend. If you have kind of made your life so stagnant, then Rahu in the Gemini might not give you or function with its best of the capabilities. Again guys, like the way we say this thing that when it comes down to Rahu, everyone says this thing that suddenly an idea will spark, and acting on that impulse or idea is gonna change your life, and depending on the position of Rahu you will get the results. Depending on the position of Rahu, it will dependent on that what kind of ideas are coming to you. But the point over here is that if you have already restricted yourself to a cage, then Rahu in the Gemini might not give you very good results. So again, it hardly matters whether you are gaining perfection in one field, but Rahu in the Gemini wants you to dabble your hands in different things, experiment with different options. Now this could be as a part of your business avenues, or whether this could be as a form of your interest in a recreational thing, in the pursuit of knowledge. So experimenting and exploring and being open towards new learning, new experiences is something which can be recommended for someone who has got Rahu placed in the Gemini. And over and above that guys, over here with this kind of placement, because as you know that Gemini is a kind of a air sign, it is a dual sign, so travel is very important. Being in a cosmopolitan environment is very important for someone who has got Rahu placed in the Gemini. That is the only reason guys, when it comes down to Rahu, like Rahu is chiefly responsible for mixing up the genetics as well. Like if you go to the cities like for example like New York or Toronto and all, you will definitely find like people who will say that okay, from my father's side, my like I'm half European from my father's side, from my mother's side I'm half Asian or Indian. So that is the kind of experiences which Rahu in the Gemini could make you go through. So guys, for people who have got Rahu placed in the Gemini, that is all what I have to add over here, is that you should not be falling into a rut, you should not be falling into stagnancy, and it hardly matters whether you are getting perfect in one field, and before reaching that state of excellence and perfection you have already shifted your interest into some other thing. That is still fine, but all what matters is that your experiences and your experiments with new things should not come to a halt. And definitely guys, with this kind of placement, like it can also give you expertise over different languages. It can definitely make you adept and very kind of very easily, where you can mold yourself as per the need of the hour. And all those people who are the content creators, freelance people, self-employed people, this could be one of the very best placement if you have got your Rahu placed in the Gemini sign. Moving ahead guys, now let's say for example if your Rahu is placed in the Cancer sign. So guys, over here it hardly matters how it has been explained in the classical text. All what we are trying to understand in this video is that how you can make best use blending the innate qualities of Rahu with the innate qualities of the Cancer. So guys, this is one such sort of combination which can actually work out in your favor, where like you will find people who can get very obsessive and deeply passionate about something. Like the way I still remember in palmistry, there is one combination of the Simeon line. Like all those people who, irrespective of having separate like heart line and the head line, they have one straight line. So that sort of a degree of perfection and obsession for something, and your quest will only be kind of your success is only dependent on how quickly you can reach to something which actually makes you go crazy or become obsessed about something. Second thing is that guys, when it comes down to making use of the Rahu in the Cancer, a lot many times what matters is that you should have a circle of influence over where you are outpouring your emotions, or you are talking to people what is happening in your life. Because the concern with the Rahu in the Cancer is that, let's say for example, this might be a very small thing, but just because going repetitive over it, you can actually make a big elephant out of it in your head. A small kind of tiny insect which now has been made a big elephant or giant creature in your head. So being open and being in a environment where you are outpouring your emotions on a regular basis becomes very important. Now that hardly matters, even if you are an artist, you are a creative person, or you are in a kind of environment where you have your joint family, you have your a big circle of friends all around you. So that will serve you much better if you have got your Rahu placed in the Cancer. Second thing is that, guys, for being very much instinctively and very intuitive enough for any of the ascension, any of like reverberating with the collective consciousness, or anything to do with the psychic intuitive awareness, this could be a blessing in disguise. Now guys, the only concern over here is that because all those people who have got like Rahu in any of the water sign, they do get the premonition, they do get the hunches and instincts, but the only concern is that a lot many times it is the information of something wrong which is about to happen. But again guys, that will definitely serve you better if you are working as a cop, if you are working as a lawyer, or anything to do with the arbitration and all, or anything to do with the spirit communication, doing tarot reading and all. So over there, and also like guys, all those people, the creative people who have got their niche in the crime thriller or any of the horror genre and all. So if you have got your Rahu placed in the Cancer sign, this could actually serve you better. And again guys, the concern with the Rahu in the Cancer people is that do not be in this mindset. Like a lot many times you will come across people who are like very much kind of getting obsessed with the shortcomings in their life, or like lacking support and something. So mindfulness, being driven towards future is very important, because Rahu is a very futuristic planet. If you have got your Ketu placed in the Cancer, you could still be rooted in the past. But if your Rahu is placed in the moon sign like Cancer, all what it expects out of you is that you should be futuristic. You should be only getting concerned, worried and obsessed towards the future. Now that hardly matters. Okay, one thing is for sure, that if your Rahu is placed in Cancer, for the peace of mind, it is the biggest threat. But that does not mean that it could not give you success, it could not give you a good relationship or fame and all. So the only thing which matters with this kind of placement is that being always concerned and worried and planning for the future becomes very important for all those people who have got their Rahu placed in the Cancer sign. And also guys, as you know that when it comes down to Cancer, a lot of emphasis goes in the comfort, in the food, in the travel, and Rahu is something which is very exotic, which is very cosmopolitan. So rather than sticking to one cuisine only, how much you are open towards trying new food, trying new cuisine, traveling to new places also becomes very important. A lot many times I've seen people that, like if they are in a northern province, all what they do is, as a part of their adventure, once in a year they will go to the same places. But if you have got your Rahu placed in the Cancer, it wants you to feed your subconsciousness with the memories, vivid memories of some new travel experiences as well. So yes guys, that is all what I have to say for people who have got Rahu placed in the Cancer. Again guys, do not think of it as a predictive part. This is what it is. All what is expected out of you is that if you want this insatiable planet to be satisfied, contented, design your life like the way it is. Now let's say for example, if you have got your Rahu placed in the Leo sign. So guys, this placement beyond doubt has not been written in a good light in the classical text, but it holds a lot of potential to give some magnanimous success. Definitely guys, this is a kind of a placement which could give you a unique place in the world. Like you might have some unique talent, you might have got some unique skill which other people or people around you are very envious. And the good part over here is that, let's say for example, if you have planets like Mercury in the Leo or some other planets in the Leo, they might give you recognition within a section of the society and community. But Rahu is a very global planet. Rahu is a planet which represents social media and global fame. So this is a kind of a placement which can actually make you or could give you global fame as well. I still remember I was watching this podcast where people were saying this thing that when it comes down to good actors from all across the world, except the US, they are known as the good actors from that country. But all the good actors from the US are being seen as the global actors from Hollywood. So that is the kind of global fame which Rahu in the in the Leo could give you. Second thing is that, guys, your fame or your recognition or your talent is definitely going to be unique. So that in itself means that you do not have to abide by what is the trending norm, or what is kind of something which is a part of the bandwagon which everyone is blindly following. So in those circumstances and situation, even if you have to rebel, you have to, or you will be projected as an outlaw or someone who is a misfit, embrace it, accept it, because this is what Rahu wants you to behave or work. Third thing is that, guys, again, my objective or intent over here is not to guide or misguide someone. This is what it is. Like the way at the time when I was explaining this thing, that what could be the alignments which drive people towards underhanded activities, or making use of like cutting corners, making some shady deal. Over there, Mercury in the Scorpio, Rahu in the Leo is the chief contributor for that. So if this is how your alignment is in this lifetime and you're not able to find success, so depending on the country, culture, or a region where you are living in, so even if you have to grease some palms in order to get your work done, but this is how your Rahu in the Leo is, and it expect you to behave like that. So again, guys, depending on the region where you are living in, nature of work, line of your work, this is what Rahu might expect you to behave. After that, guys, when it comes down to the devotion or something to do with the art and your creative interest and all, so beyond doubt, guys, even when it comes down to the bhakti and all, this is a kind of a placement which will be more pleased when you will be in the worship of some of the ferocious gods and deities. Like from the Hinduism, this is the worship of the goddess Kali, worship of the Lord Kal Bhairava will be much rewarded with this alignment. Also, guys, when it comes down to art, anything to do with the creativity, so something to do where the dark side of the art is involved, might be very much in sync, in cahoots with this kind of placement. And also, guys, like the way when you talk about all those like adventure stuff which we see like in Red Bull and all, where people are doing those daredevil stunts and actions and all, so that is generally the domain of when Rahu is placed in the Aries or Rahu is placed in the Leo. It can actually equip you with that sort of thrust of knowledge and all, or power, or fear lessness and all. Moving ahead, guys, now let's say for example if your Rahu is placed in the Virgo sign. So guys, when it comes down to Rahu being placed in the Virgo, this is a very gifted placement in so many aspects, because guys, when it comes down to like, because Rahu in the water sign could make someone daydreamer, Rahu in the fire sign can make you or fills you with adrenaline rush and all, but what matters most is your daily dealings, your daily nitty gritty and nuances of the life. So the best part about this placement of Rahu in the Virgo is that it actually makes you very smart, very adept in the small daily decisions of the life. Second thing is that, beyond doubt, one thing which makes Rahu very unique is that its capacity to see through any deception, its capacity to see through any sort of deceit. So in this regard, this placement can actually act as a saving grace for you. That definitely, guys, a lot will be dependent on other alignments as well, but at least this is a kind of a placement which will safeguard you from any of the threat, any of the deception or trap of deception in the society, in the community. Now, guys, how this placement wants you to behave. So definitely, guys, this is a kind of a placement which wants you to innovate your daily life. Like here, we are not only talking about doing something with the projected future in the mind, like even in the daily life, how you could embrace technology or be innovative in the daily chores, in the daily task of yours. Like let's say for example, one traditional way of, like let's say for example, doing your daily grocery is that you take up your bag, you go to the grocery store, buy everything, then walk back to your place, or whether drive back to place. And another thing could be how you can make your life easier on a daily basis. This could be, there are those apps, there are those online service providers and players through which you can order all of your grocery. So Rahu in the Virgo is a kind of a very positive assistance in our life, that it makes our daily life smart, innovative and easier. And beyond doubt guys, like if you have to be in a field where this is needed as a part of your skill, like you are in a service industry or in fast moving consumer goods, or anything to do with being in a field of the law, being in the field of policing or city planning, this could be a very good placement for someone who has got Rahu placed in the Virgo. Guys, the only cue I have to give to you guys is that just embrace technology or innovate your daily life. You should make Rahu a part of your daily nitty-gritty. That is how Rahu is going to be very pleased with you. Moving ahead guys, now let's say for example, if you will find Rahu to be placed in the Libra sign. So definitely guys, this is a good placement in so many regard. Now first let's try to understand the attributes of the Libra. Now Libra is a air sign. Libra is a kind of a movable sign, so that means there is a lot of potential to socialize and adapt and mold yourself with the changing trends, and this is something which Rahu will demand or expect out of you. Like the way guys, whenever it comes down to me picking up any of the favorite nakshatra which could make people millionaire and all, and which has been found prominently in the charts of the millionaires, that is definitely the Swati nakshatra. So the point which I'm trying to say over here is that if you want to make use, or you want to use this alignment with the best of your capabilities, so do not be in a circle of influence, or do not surround yourself with the people where you think that your life is getting very monotonous, very stagnant, you're not growing, you're not experiencing new things. So Rahu in the Libra wants you to mingle up or socialize in new group with new people, where every day you are experiencing some new culture, new custom, new eating habits, new aspiration, new trends going on in the market. So that is the one thing which Rahu being placed in the Libra will expect out of you. Second thing is that guys, like the way you know this thing, that the innate nature of Rahu is see through any illusion, any deception, any deceit and all. So Rahu in the Libra is also not going to be very happy if you are among those lovey-dovey kind of person where you kind of blindly trust your partner, or you have put everything, the whole dynamics of the power within the relationship has been shifted or being sacrificed to your partner. This is not a kind of a right approach and attitude where Rahu will be happy with you or will give you good results. Rahu is a very smart planet. Rahu is a planet which wants to adapt and mold itself as the need of the hour. So Rahu will expect you to be very cautious, very alert, even in the matters of the relationship as well. So like the way, if your overall chart is very water driven, very like a moon sign or a water sign like Cancer, Pisces driven specifically, you are very prominently, your ascendant lord is Venus. So that means your Venus is like exalted and in such a placement where you are blindly in a relationship. So Rahu in the Libra will not be happy, and you know that how Rahu act. So in order to give you a jolt, it might make you go through some sort of betrayals or deception for you to learn the lesson. So that is another thing. And also guys, like even when it comes down to your commercial interest and all, if that is getting applicable in your case, so Rahu in the Libra wants you to think out of the box. Like this is not a kind of a placement where you can just work in a restricted environment with a restrictive mindset, or working with that orthodox or traditional way. Rahu in the Libra wants you to innovate or revamp your offering, your commercial dealings, your market image. Also guys, if you have got your Rahu placed in the Libra, so even when it comes down to like the way, for example, when we go through and like being living in Vancouver right now, I see lot many realtors ad, and when you see those people who are being put in a very glamorized way. So Rahu in the Libra loves the glamour, loves that glitter. So in whatsoever way you are operating, in whichever business you are operating, but glamour, presentability, some sort of unique signature style of yours will be very much expected out of you. Moving ahead, guys. Now let's say, for example, if your Rahu is placed in the Scorpio. So guys, to begin with, this is a kind of a very esoteric placement. Like the way if I were to share my experience over here, and here we are not being biased about whether Rahu is good in certain signs or Rahu is bad as per the classical text. This is what you have got. You have to live with it. You have to honor this placement. And definitely, if Rahu is in an empowered state in your life, then definitely you have to think, you have to work, you have to behave as per the principles of Rahu. So guys, first of all, secrecy becomes very important. This is a kind of a typical placement where very quickly you will be subjected to, or you will get the evil eye. So if your nature is very outgoing and you cannot retain any information with you, any of the plan within you. I was just watching this this very beautiful podcast in the evening only before recording this video, and this guy explained over there that why we should not share our plans before it has been done, because he gave some neurology, psychology explanation for that, because the kind of rush which you get when you achieve something, that diminishes because you have already experienced that happiness, because revealing everything beforehand. So that in itself means that you do not have to reveal any of your plans beforehand, because, and here we are not only talking about a scientific point of view, here we are talking about from a mystical point of view. That means you will quickly get the evil eye, intention of people around you. That is the one thing. Second thing is that, guys, this is a very kind of a research oriented placement of Rahu to be placed in the Scorpio. And again, guys, no matter in which domain you are operating, if because the lord of the Scorpio is the planet Mars in itself, but as much of the go-getter, outgoing Mars could be in the Aries, it becomes more resentful and deeply invested within whenever the energy of Scorpio function manifests the qualities of its ruler Mars. So what it tells about is that definitely engaging, investing and research is very important for you. Understanding all the omens and all the occult significance also becomes very important for you. Like let's say, for example, some other person might be very good or might function good, perform good, achieve good, even with his hard work and with being devoted and being kind of very much religiously oriented in the life. But Rahu in the Scorpio, generally all those people who make use of the omens, like adding some added layer through some astrology, like wearing a gemstone when it is very strongly needed, or deciding your moves at the right muhurta, or doing your Vastu, or doing some short remedy at your home and all, or some specific ritual at a sensitive time. So all of that, all these astrology upayas, remedies, mystical upayas, whether in your own self, whether within your house where you are living in the form of the Vastu, will become very important. And also, guys, like the way I mentioned this thing, Rahu in the Scorpio is a master of disguise and illusion. So like the way I mentioned this thing, Rahu's placement in the Scorpio, Mercury's placement in the Scorpio. Here I'm not gonna be talking about Saturn. Most importantly, Rahu and Mercury, either both of them or individually, if either of these two planets are going to be placed in the Scorpio, this is generally responsible for those businesses, those big kind of entrepreneurs and all, who generally find success in at the initial stage of their life, indulging into some shady deals, or kind of bribing people, greasing people's hand, and then rising in the life. So yes, Rahu in the Scorpio does not want to do things in a prescribed, in a right way. So manipulation, strategy will become very important, or as a success tool specifically to your alignment. So yes, guys, that is all what I have to add over here, and only if you know how to make use of it. And also, guys, this is a kind of a placement again. If you want to appease the Rahu, like the way we say this thing, Rahu being placed in the air signs could be controlled through the worship of the goddess Saraswati. Rahu being placed in the fire sign could be placed through the bhakti of the Lord Hanuman, or this could be the bhakti of goddess Durga, but specifically Rahu being placed in the Scorpio. So the worship of the gods and goddesses like Lord Kal Bhairav, goddess Kali, goddess Tara, goddess Kamakhya Ma, so will become very important for you to get the best out of this placement. Moving ahead, guys. Now let's say, for example, if you have your Rahu being placed in the Sagittarius sign. So guys, again over here the point is not to categorize or label any alignment, any placement as good or bad. All what matters is that how to blend and live in harmony with this alignment which universe has gifted you in this lifetime. So guys, as you know that the attributes of the Sagittarius, which has got everything to do with the with your like it's a fire sign, it's a dual sign, it has got everything to do with the virtues, it has got everything to do with the bhagya or the fortune. So guys, in this kind of placement, it is a very good capacity for anything to do with the highest form of learning. It has got everything to do with the travels and gaining experiences or being in a cosmopolitan environment. Like the way, guys, your highest form of the knowledge and learning might only come through some innovative measures, being in those kind of situation where you have to travel, you have to kind of rebel from the existing norm or the culture or the family you are born with. So you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to embrace that truth. Like the way, guys, this is what the story for the birth of the Rahu is, that Rahu wanted to get the elixir of immortality, which could be a domain of the ninth house. He wanted that status of being called a planet, being called or equivalent to the god, if not the god, equivalent to the god. But he has to opt for the deception in order to get that Amrit, elixir of immortality. If you know that story, that when the this immortal elixir was getting distributed by Lord Vishnu in the guise of Mohini, and Rahu saw this thing that demons are not being served that, so he disguised himself and he sat amongst the gods and he got that. So yes, for you to be in the pursuit of all of your dreams, or like for anything to do with the highest form of learning and all, you have to get out of your comfort zone. This is the first thing which this alignment expect out of you. Second thing is that, guys, this is a kind of a placement where I will not recommend people to take lucky break or leave things on the luck, because when it comes down to Rahu, it has got a very kind of a sensitive, unpredictable nature. And whether we talk about the ninth house or individually Sagittarius, it has everything to do with the luck or the good fortune. Rahu believes in making its own luck. So with this kind of placement or alignment, you should not be blindly relying on lucky break or leap of faith. Now guys, after that, when it comes down to anything to do with the prospects of omens or serendipity, and like the way we say this thing that, you know, epiphanies and all, regarding that front, this could be a good placement for that. Like the way the psychic intuitive awareness of Rahu can actually function with the best of its capabilities. Second thing is that, guys, this is a kind of a placement where a native could be seen as like the way a lot many times, like if you will go by the from the Indian context as well, you study the life of the B.R. Ambedkar, and there was one of the tribal leader, I forgot his name. He's being respected a lot amongst the Indian fighters, freedom fighters and all. So this is a kind of a placement where you will be able to inspire people, you will be able to uplift or guide people, but only because you will be the first amongst or you might be an outlaw, or you might have done or achieved something which is not expected, or you do not have that sort of privilege to be there or do that. So with this kind of mindset, that wheresoever or like the way, for example, guys, like the way people say in any of the industry, there are like certain sects which and certain people which get very easy access, and there are those people who have to work hard to make a place for themselves in that place, in that situation. So if you have got your Rahu placed in the Sagittarius, this is how your success will come. So success will not come to you in a comfort zone, which could be the domain of Rahu in the Gemini, Rahu in the Virgo, or Rahu in the Aquarius. This is a kind of a placement where you have to fight hard to make a place for yourself in a domain which does not belong to you. And again guys, here we are talking about Rahu, which has got this capacity to give you global fame. So your global fame might only come to you via initially going through some initial inconveniences and all, or being an outlaw or a kind of a black sheep or a misfit in any given crowd or situation. But one thing is for sure guys, that if you have that mindset that you want to get that highest form of knowledge and learning, then this could be a very good placement for you. Now guys, moving ahead, now let's say for example, if your Rahu is placed in the Capricorn sign. So guys, as you know this thing that this is a kind of a placement where because Capricorn is a earth sign, Capricorn is a movable sign, and it is a sign which is being ruled by the planet Saturn. And as you know that Rahu somehow behaves and acts like Saturn. So this could be a very good placement in this regard, that Rahu just wants to have its unique identity. Rahu is very intuitive, it is very intelligent as well, and it is very courageous as well. So this is a kind of a placement which actually supports lot many people who could be the first comer in any given industry, in any given field. This is a kind of a placement where you have got this capacity to be recognized or being known for something substantial which you have done in any given industry. And again guys, our main objective is not to get into the predictive part. Our main objective is to how you can design your life as per the planetary alignment in different signs. So what Rahu expect you to behave when it comes down to your Rahu being placed in the Capricorn. So one thing is that guys, you know, and you have to learn or know how to manage important and prominent people, how to deal with the authority figures. Again guys, this could be the domain of Mars to rebel with the authority. This could be the domain of the Jupiter to not get along well with authority because of the difference in your principles and your virtues and all, conflicting interest and all. But Rahu is a planet which knows how to extract what is advantageous for it in any given situation. So with your Rahu being placed in the Capricorn, you have to be smart, you have to be diplomatic enough how you manage your bosses, how you manage authority figures. With Rahu being placed in the Capricorn, this is a very good placement for you to do something substantial, something unique which the world has not seen. And definitely guys, it has got more to do with your achievements, with your tasks. With Rahu being placed in the Capricorn, it has not much to do with only being relying on the planning part. Rahu in the Capricorn is the ultimate signature sign of execution. So with your Rahu being placed in the Capricorn, you have got this capacity to execute those big projects, take chance for some big expansion and big risk. Guys, there are like lot many podcasts, lot many channels which I keep on consuming on daily basis. And if you will see those people who became billionaires, you know, starting from scratch, starting from no prominent support. So the only thing which worked in their case was that their capacity to visualize big dreams, big goals, and execute on them and work on them. So only if you are just dreaming, planning within your mind, that could be a domain of Rahu being in the air signs. But your Rahu is placed in the Capricorn, so that is how it wants you to behave. Again guys, this is a very good placement where it can actually make you very fearless, and that is how you have to act. The planning and strategizing part has to be immaculate at your end. And again guys, this is a kind of a placement where you can definitely defeat any of the competition. You do not have to be worried on the account of your competitors. If you have done your job right, if you have built your organization with a deep research, this can actually give you success. And also guys, with Rahu being placed in the Capricorn, what matters is how you are changing continuously or adapting with the changing trends. That will become very important for you if you have got your Rahu being placed in the Capricorn. Now guys, moving ahead, now let's say for example, if your Rahu is being placed in the Aquarius. So again guys, we are not getting biased with whether this is a good placement or bad placement. This is what you have got. What you can best do to make the best use out of this placement is that, see guys, when it comes down to Aquarius, Aquarius is a fixed sign. It is a air sign, so that means there is a lot of potential and capacity to retain whatever you experience in the life and make best use out of it. Now because your Rahu is placed in the Aquarius, one thing is for sure, that Rahu does not want you to fall to a rut. Rahu wants you to experience, explore, indulge in adventure, mix up with a crowd which is very different to you, mix up in those experiences which is very different to you. That is how only you will learn, that is how you will grow. So, and again guys, this is a kind of a placement where generally it has been seen that people have got this capacity to be famous because of their unique talents or unique gifts which they possess. So guys, for anything to do with ascension for the fame or popularity or easily mixing up in any of the big crowd, this is a good placement. Again, I'm not predicting that, this is how Rahu wants you to behave. Again guys, if our ancient sages have assigned Rahu the co-rulership of Aquarius, that in itself has got some significance attached to it, because Rahu kind of finds itself at its home whenever it is placed in the Aquarius sign. So that is the only reason I'm saying this thing, that technology work very friendly with you, or it has to work and get along very well with you. And again guys, do not fall into rut. Be continuously adapting yourself, molding yourself, keep on experiencing new things, new adventure, and that is how you will grow and you can get the best out of this placement. So guys, many of the tech geniuses all around the world and people who have done something very magnanimously good in the field of science, in the field of innovation, in the field of research, are generally born with this kind of placement. So this is the kind of potential which you hold. Only thing which this alignment is asking out of you is that have your dreams, have your goals very high set, and unless and until you are not working with this mindset of serving the masses, Rahu in the Aquarius might not be able to function to the best of its capabilities. Again guys, because understand this thing, Aquarius is broken down into two planets, which is Saturn, which has to do with the service, and Rahu, which only think about its self-interest. So you have to blend these two things. Your self-interest, your self-gain has to be put in the mind, but eventually it should be coming to the use of the general masses as well, something where it is solving people's problem as well. Only if you will work with this mindset, this Rahu in the Aquarius can give you magnanimous fame and recognition. Lastly guys, let's say for example, if you will find your Rahu to be placed in the Pisces. So guys, like the way you know this thing, that this discussion is not about categorizing or labeling any placement as good or bad, how you can do or what you can do to make the best use out of this placement. So guys, because Pisces is a water sign, Pisces is a kind of a dual sign. So one thing is for sure, that this is a kind of a placement which have this capacity to take you to some different dimensions. So let's say for example, if you choose a profession where you are continuously creating some characters or creating something new, this could be very good for you. So definitely guys, whether you are working as a novelist, whether you are a fantasy writer, screenwriter, this could be a very good placement for you. Generally guys, what has been seen, that because your Rahu is placed in the Pisces, your major experiences, learning and fame might be connected to the planes or places which are far away from you. So let's say for example, if you have got this kind of placement and you get some overseas opportunity, you get this chance to work with some of the foreign nationals, or being in any of the cosmopolitan environment and all. So over there the energies of Rahu might function with the best of its capabilities. Again guys, because when it comes down to Pisces, all what matters is that we talk more about the mysticism, we talk more about discoveries, innovation, compassion, comfort, care, and you blend all these qualities with the energies of Rahu, which has to do with the fame, which has to do with ambition, which has to do with something unique, always in this adrenaline rush of trying, experimenting something new. So this is a kind of a placement where falling into rut or following something which is very kind of very continuous or very kind of stagnant will not kind of thrill Rahu as much as it could if you are always in the pursuit of some new knowledge, new experiences, new learning. And second thing is that, guys, this is a kind of a placement where Rahu will definitely has got this potential or capacity to see through any sort of deception. Now again, guys, a lot will be dependent on the evolutionary level of the soul of the person, but definitely if well utilized, and let's say for example with this placement, native has got this capacity to be by himself for very long period of time. For this could be anything, like you are a part of any secretive services, as a part of the research, as a part of your duties towards the government, towards the country. You have to be away from the public's limelight. So again, guys, this is a kind of a placement where like the way your fame might only come at a latter half, because Rahu being placed in other signs can actually give you immediate response to your action. But generally this is a kind of a placement where someone who is working or a part of a covert operation, and only after deeply remaining in that secretive and disguised life, you achieved something, and later on the world is getting inspired by you, or you are getting your recognition and fame. So this is a kind of approach which Rahu in the Pisces expect out of you. So do not be in this mindset that whatever you are doing now, you will reap the result of that recognition of that on an immediate basis. This is a kind of a placement where being secretive, being a mystery will serve you much better rather than being outspoken or out there in the public's eye. So yes, guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.